I don't like the fact that people are trying to tiptoe around this subject or trying to make it bigger of a subject of respecting the pronouns. That, you know, the bigger issue is that this guy, prominent figure online, one could argue the left or the right hand man of Mr. Beast, was doing and saying all these weird things with children around.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today I have my beautiful friend Tori. And so some really as you know, I did this video about the Kris Tyson MrBeast stuff that's been going on, and I touched on it lightly about the trans stuff. So as I've been watching it unfold, I just had this idea that I really would love to have a trans woman speak with me about this, because I find it not kind of, I find it extremely disturbing. And the fact that I don't see a lot of trans, I think, you know, Blair did do something a long time ago, but I find it really disturbing that there's not a lot of people in our trans community, though I'm not shocked, to be honest with you, that no one wants, they're trying to, right, Tori?
Yeah.
They're trying to put it under the rug. I'm not letting it, and neither is Tori. So it's going to make it more powerful. I also think, as this story, wow, Tori, this story is just going at it. Wow.
Insane. It's just insane. And it's a product, again, of this woke mind virus that people love to put the trans label on, say, oh, well,
That's
because
right.
I'm trans, my crimes are exonerated. And it's like, no.
We have to hold Kris accountable. Now, to the people out there who are so obsessed with pronouns, sit down for a minute and just put that to the side, because that's not going to happen here. Tori and I have already discussed it. I don't feel that Kris deserves, Ava Kris, whatever you want to call this person, deserves respect from me. And Tori can speak for herself on that.
Yeah, I bottom line is, I will not respect the pronouns of someone who is a pedophile.
Thank you. Thank you. I agree. And I said it in my first video. I'm going to say it here. You don't get to have that respect, my friend. You mess with kids. Once you mess with kids, all bets are off the table, buddy. So with that, we hope you go to jail. We hope this comes out. We are very upset about this being a representation of the trans community, and why we need to speak up about this. And so to the people out there who are being sort of forced to use Kris's pronouns, I'm going to say, as a transsexual person, you don't have to do that. You don't owe that person any respect at this point. And, you know, in our community, it's earned. I think Tori and I really make an effort to earn your respect as trans people, and you all call us he and she. I see it all.
Yep. I agree. I mean, it's all about putting in the effort to be seen as something. And you and I, from the very beginning, have not expected to be called the pronouns until we put the work in to be seen and perceived as that.
Thank you.
And respectable, decent humans that are not doing nefarious things behind the scenes to our youth, or lying to our youth, or pushing an agenda on our youth.
Boy, did I dig deep, Tori. I've been in contact with Tori the last 4 days. I'm like, I can't take it anymore. Every day, something, I'm texting her, like, help me. I can't, it's digging. So with that, we've decided to concentrate on the trans part of this, because the other stuff, it's not our world. Also, it's just so deep, and you can't hear on YouTube really say a lot of stuff about this. You get suppressed, and I don't want this video to get suppressed. I really need this video to be seen by not only the transgender community, but also by other people who are sort of not understanding the trans part. And so I think
the last couple of days, you and we've learned a lot of stuff that we had literally no idea existed. People that no idea existed. Communities online, from chronically online people we had no idea existed, because
kids.
Yes, kids. Because we live in the real world. We're in the world. We're not chronically in this online world of different communities. I've spoken to people that I work with at my job about this, and they're younger than I am.
Yeah.
Some of them are high schoolers, and they're talking about it, because I'm like, wait a minute, you know what this stuff is? And they're like,
oh my God.
Yeah, everyone does. And I'm like,
I know, it's shocking. We don't. It's like we're, remember your parents don't know you're doing things. That's kind of like what's happening here, but in a bigger space, because the Discord server thing, Mike, I have a kid, that, and he's on Discord. Okay. Now I'm going to go and look at that, even though he promised me it's private, all of that. And I want to trust him, but I have to now. I have to get my eyes on it. And I'm just like, wait a minute here. These kids were doing all this stuff in this Discord space, which was wiped clean supposedly, and now it's all being leaked out. Oh, people, go and dig. I'll put some links here. I'll have Seth put some links for you all to do that. But let's go, because we're going to focus on the trans part, because I feel very upset that Kris identifies as transgender, and I think with what I found here, you're going to see some inconsistencies.
I wanted to say one thing about the
Yeah.
Discord thing and the trans thing.
Yeah.
It just so
Yeah.
happens that this whole same community of people that are in the trans community are chronically on Discord. Also, speaking of another situation, Lily Tino is also on Discord. So they really just they're in it. It's this group, man. It's this literal group of people, these individuals that claim trans label to be exonerated of things. I
agree. That's exactly what I think is going on, especially watching all of this. I think Kris became trans so that Kris now has the bubble of trans around them, and they can't get in trouble. But you're going down, Kris. If it's the last thing I do, okay, I don't care. You're going down. You touched kids, and you said, well, I don't know if you actually physically touched kids, but you touched their brains, okay? And that's not cool. You just messed. I mean, there's guys out there saying that they, were inappropriately spoken to, these young men. Like, we don't talk about men being essayed or dealing with grooming or any of that. We don't talk about it. We need to. And I think this is going to bring that to the surface as well. Yes, which is very, very important. So
let's get into it.
So with that, let's do it. So I found this first one. I guess when Kris first came out and everybody was celebrating how beautiful it is that Kris became trans. So let's watch this.
Kris Tyson is embarking on a new chapter. The MrBeast YouTube channel star shares on April 5th that they've been undergoing hormone replacement therapy for the last 2 months. The 26-year-old tweets, quote, "Informed consent HRT saved my and many others' lives. The hurdles people have to jump through to get life-saving, gender-affirming healthcare in a first-world country is wild to me. Just let people make informed decisions about their own bodies." The social media star has been vocal about their sexuality in the past. Back in 2020, they came out as bisexual, noting that a previous attempt during their teenage years was met with a lot of negative backlash from friends and family. On April 6, Kris wrote that their physical appearance has already started to change since beginning HRT. The content creator also shared a selfie with their 2-year-old son Tucker, captioning the post, quote, "If I didn't have this little nugget, I'd never have gotten this far. He's taught me so much about myself in such a short time. I can't wait to learn through life together." In a separate tweet on their account, Kris adds, quote, "I know I'm going to be a great parent, and so is every other person who puts the love of their child before everything.
Oh, really? Puts their love of their child before everything. What? Dude, you transitioned and left your family and your child. Okay, you go, Tori.
I'm honestly, I was listening to you, but I'm still processing all the things that they're championing, Oh, this is so great. They have, that I was going like this during it because it's just rehearsed. It's just the rehearsed rhetoric that they spew because they don't, make decisions about our own bodies, even though we're children. The informed consent model with no therapy, nothing about therapy.
No therapy. That's what, so for people out there who are watching this, informed consent means you don't have to go to therapy and that you know you're trans. And so that's the problem with what's happening now. People like Kris can just say they're trans when they're not trans. I will now. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. In my opinion, Kris is not trans. Kris is a fetishist.
Mhm.
Kris is a cross-dresser who enjoys looking like a woman and getting off on it. Okay, it's also called AGP. I do not believe that Kris is an actual real transgender woman and is using it in order to gain access to young people and to have this sort of idea, and just it's more of a sort of getting social credit score.
Yeah, no, very much that what you just said. It
Yeah,
is a byproduct of an online community that like literally thrives off of like getting off to these things. And
that's
so
right.
it's just so indicative of again, the woke mind virus that mixes in with
Yeah,
it, and you
sick.
become the fetish, right? That is,
I mean,
ugh,
all the talking points. All those are literally everything every transgender activist
says
says.
every
The
time.
exact. It's the booklet.
Yeah.
He read out of the booklet. Go and listen to another trans activist. They'll say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I disagree. Informed consent is the reason why this community is a shit show, because we've just let anyone and everyone become trans. Because when you're 10, you know who you
You know
are.
who you are at 10 years old. Yeah, because a child is people will argue for that just ridiculously, to like they'll die in that
Ridiculous.
hill.
I
Kids know who they are.
know.
What? Oh my god. Kids want to grow
Oh
up to
my
be
god.
like dinosaurs, and well, some adults think they
Well,
are. Um
that's right.
my god. And it's all a
All
part of
while
this
this,
online community. Like it just breeds these people and these mindsets and
I
this
know, it's
lifestyle.
dangerous.
Oh,
That, well, all while the dude is in Discord servers with young kids saying the most insane stuff that I'm not putting up here because it's so disgusting. I don't even want to subject anybody to it. You can find it if you need to find it, but the things this person was saying to young people and the manipulation and the actual real grooming.
yeah.
That, remember the video I did before this? The guy who said, "Oh, he didn't groom me." Well, that kid is now, I think Lava,
Lava.
his name is. He's now saying, "Well, actually, I think it did happen to me," because everybody was like, "Dude, you were groomed."
But it's okay. It's okay, Buck, because they're part of our community. They have the same
Wow.
name, and it's like,
Wow.
no, the buck stops there. Quite literally. You don't get to put the trans label on it to
No.
cover up
Oh,
what you're doing.
that's so gross. That's exactly what
Don't
happened. He's
appropriate our
disgusting.
culture.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Good one. Good one, Tori. Yeah. Oh, you're appropriating. Oh, you just appropriated big
Oh
time.
my god.
Oh my God. And then the other thing I want to say to the women out there, I see you and I understand when you say these are not our crimes. That's why we can't call Kris she,
Exactly.
because these are not a woman's crime. This is a male crime and we need to keep it in that realm. And it's not a woman's crime. So that's why we can't call Kris she, because she did not do it. He did
Correct.
it.
Correct.
Wow, it's so sick. Okay. So let's go to this like, I guess, famous YouTuber dude who has a show and brings people on. Anthony Padilla, is that his name?
Padilla?
And
Padilla?
Padilla,
I don't
maybe, I
know.
don't know. Anyway, so of course when Kris came out, everybody was woohoo! Kris is trans. Let's celebrate. So
Was this from a
I
while
got
ago?
this. That's right, a year
Okay.
ago. When I think Kris came out about a year ago, right? And instantly skyrocketed to the, oh wow. Oh, the other thing I want to say is, my kid actually, I didn't know about MrBeast until I asked my kid. And my kid's like, oh yeah, one of the guys on there became trans. And I'm like, what? My son told me that. That's how I knew. And I was like, no. The fact that a person came out trans in front of a bunch of little kids, like,
Exactly. It's exactly
mm,
what we're fighting against. Like we are adults, we're living in the real world. We have no idea. Some of us are parents. We have no idea what these kids are being exposed to. As
that's right.
transsexuals, we
That's right.
should like be able to know these things first to protect the kids. But we
Unbelievable.
had no idea because Mr. Beast is a a kid's thing. I had no idea. I literally knew nothing. I've learned more about MrBeast in the last month than I have my entire life. And apparently it's just been
Me
going on for years.
I know.
And
Oh,
I'm a
all these people that
millennial.
work
I'm a
there.
millennial. And
I
I'm
know.
just so
I know.
disconnected from online, apparently. I
That's
don't
right.
know.
Apparently, me too. And I'm a parent, and I didn't even know. I just like, oh, cool, MrBeast. He's like the biggest YouTuber in the world. Good for the kids. And then all this weird stuff is going on. I'm like, oh my God, this is just
Doesn't it kind of
mind
fit, though? Doesn't it
blowing.
kind of fit though? The biggest YouTube person who influences kids, of course. Of
Of
course one of them is
course.
gonna turn out to be trans. Of course.
Of course. And then like has all this deep, dark history. Still was happening after they transitioned as well, by the way. So
Yeah.
don't think just because they transitioned, it stopped. It probably got worse, but also other weird stuff was happening that people have come out to
But
say.
we need to
So
respect their pronouns.
oh no. Oh, you wait to see what I found. Okay, so let's start with this one.
I was so scared of saying I'm a woman and then instantly hearing, no, you're not. Because in my head, I fought with that every day.
This episode is sponsored by
She
BetterHelp
heard.
Online Therapy.
Sponsored by BetterHelp.
Oh yeah, the
You can't make this.
You really can't make it up. This
Oh,
episode is
dude.
sponsored by something that Kris should have done before. Thank you.
Right.
Maybe it's
Kris
subliminal
needs.
maybe Anthony's really on our side and it's
Who
subliminal
knows?
advertising.
So first off, I just want to say, like, came out, I'm a woman. Dude, you're a trans woman. First off, you're not a woman.
Exactly.
This is the part that really upsets me. Coming on a huge show like that guy has like millions of followers. I'm a woman. Like, no, you're not. And you're misrepresenting what trans is.
And it doesn't take away anything to say from you to say that you're not a woman. I mean,
That's right.
You are a trans woman. You can't change your biology. You are that. That is what you are. Do
Wow.
not take away from women
That's
for
right.
your own validation.
That's what it is. You hit it. The word validation. This person, you can watch it in the whole interview, which I'll put the link. So if all of you want to waste your time watching that, you can. You can. It's up to you. But I already watched it too many times. I can't. So I actually marked a couple of spots that I thought were super important. So yeah, that part really upset me, but I thought it was funny how it said sponsored by BetterHelp.
Right after it. Right after Kris Tyson, she,
Brilliant.
her. This episode is sponsored by therapy. Something
Oh,
that
geez,
she,
man.
her needs.
Never went
Yeah.
to, clearly, because they like informed consent.
God.
I'm trans because I want to wear women's shoes.
Yep.
So, it's so.
Or I think
no
they're-
wonder.
they're
No wonder women are
upset.
pissed.
Yeah. I think at one point they mentioned that they wore their sister's clothes at a very young age.
Oh, you're kidding.
And that was how they knew. That's how they knew.
Wow. Just wow. Come on, man. Just can you stop already with that stuff? So anyone who wears opposite clothing is now trans. That's how we got into this. Okay, so I don't remember what this is, but let's watch.
Maybe one day, and then I got famous, and my bubble went from this small little town to hundreds of millions of people.
You've had a lot of people speculating on your gender.
Yes.
You know, just you growing out your hair.
Yeah.
Today you showed up fully
I did.
presenting
I did.
as a woman.
I did, because I am a woman.
Oh shit!
Ah, she,
Okay,
her.
that I can't take it. I can't, like, what?
No, I hate it. Looking at the camera and going, I am a woman. No. Gross.
It's
gross.
damaging.
dare
Damaging. It's
you?
damaging. I know. How dare you? 1 year into your transition, and you're just, that's the thing that young people see. And then they see this person who has millions of followers, probably has a lot of money, can just bling around, when a lot of us aren't even near in that space, right? Most people in the world aren't in that space, and making it look so easy and making it look like it's all fun and games when it isn't fun and games. And
No.
it takes a long time to figure
Kris
it out.
Tyson is an influential person, regardless, to children, like all these children. And for him to say these things about, like, oh, and I can be a woman, like, No.
Yep.
And again,
No.
nothing about gender dysphoria. That entire interview,
I know.
nothing about gender dysphoria.
Good point. Good point. No mental, not. I have a disorder. It's a disorder, people. This is an actual
And
disorder.
it's okay to
Whether
say
you want to
that.
believe
And
it.
it's okay to say that. God, I just. Ugh.
I know it's actually really. We're just frustrated with these people. There was one more part of this interview. Hold on 1 second. Oh my god! And they're all clapping like it's a big
Yay.
celebrating my
I
transness.
love that
What?
for us.
Wait.
We're
Hold
proud
on
of it.
here.
We're so
It's so gross. I'm so proud. Yay! Yay! You did it. What'd you do?
I'm very proud of who I
Don't
was
ask.
and how I've
Don't
gotten here. It took me a long time to get here.
Yeah,
But I'm finally here, so I'm not ashamed of all of that or anything.
Oh,
I'm actually really proud of it.
I'm very proud of who I was. That's gonna haunt you for the rest of your life, dude.
I think the #1 comment on this video was, well, this aged horribly.
Oh my god! Someone said it aged like milk, like sour milk, or something
Yeah,
like that.
it's true because that statement right there, very proud of who I was. Oh, really?
You sure about that, buddy?
Mhm.
Because he actually thought no one would find out about all the sickness that was going on the internet, which is so narcissistic in itself. To think you could talk the way you were saying, the things you were saying to kids, all of the stuff you were doing, and you think it was never going to come out. To find that's just so narcissistic.
Because why? It was okay to say because why? Because we're just bros. We're broing it out. Like,
Yep, that's right.
no. Children
right.
are involved, and you're talking about
Wow.
that?
Wow.
Absolutely.
That's right. And right now, my intent is to disrespect you,
There you
Kris.
go.
Straight to jail. So this guy, I think, is great. He says some really great things here. Let
We
me
don't have respect,
tee him up. Yeah.
point blank.
So he says great stuff. He's a cool dude. I love watching his stuff, and I'll put a link to his place too because I thought what he said was so great. But here, let's watch it.
But I can't think of a more appropriate moment to disrespect somebody than when that said somebody is going around for the past couple of years sending inappropriate messages to minors behind some weird group chat app and somehow thinking that calling it edgy jokes, because back then that was a lot of people's excuse. I never want to hear that bullshit ever again.
you.
It's just perfectly
Right
fine
on.
and I'm going to distance myself from online.
Kris Tyson from MrBeast used me, manipulated me, and did very inappropriate things with me while I was about 15
Oh my
years
God.
old. I was actually friends with Lava GS at the time, who is the main victim of Kris that everyone has been talking about these last few days, who claims he isn't a victim, but we all know he is, and we all know he probably got paid off. Not only that, but he's also under an NDA from when he worked for MrBeast Gaming for 2 years, and he tried to get me to join MrBeast Gaming himself, Lava. He's the one who actually sent me the contract and tried to get me to sign the NDA, at which point I ended our friendship because I knew they were just trying to sign.
Oh my! So I hope you all saw. I put that there because he put we're getting sort of suppressed if we talk out about this situation. And it said a lot of people are being suppressed for talking about this stuff. Which why? Why would we get? Why?
We're trying to protect people. We're trying to call bad people out and bad acts out. Why is that being suppressed?
Because
Also, free
he's the
speech.
biggest- well, it's the biggest YouTuber.
I know that's sinister.
Let's be honest. Here.
But it just seems this house of cards is just beginning to fall because it just
Right on.
with more people coming
on.
out talking about it, just the tip of the iceberg. It's just not headed in a great direction for this group of
Oh, no.
individuals.
Someone's going down. So, okay, so there, I love that where he's like, "I'm not going to respect
Yeah.
you. You've lost your mind, buddy." So,
Well, that's what we're saying.
and
We
then-
are transsexual people saying that, and this is a regular dude who's not. Well,
Yep.
I'm assuming he's not a part of the community.
nope, he's
Okay,
not.
well, I'm assuming he's actually probably more a part of the online community.
Yes,
Yeah, and
he's a super smart guy.
and he's saying these things. So we are
Yeah.
agreeing. Look at that. Look at us make bridges.
Right on, friend. That's why. That's what this is all about.
Yeah.
It's helping people to understand we don't, as transsexuals, we don't care if you misgender Kris because we are going to do it too.
Because we don't condone this. We don't accept it. This is not our community. It's like,
No,
even though
it's
they
not.
try to get into our community and say everybody can be trans. Even no.
That's right. Remember Nickelodeon? Did you watch that
Yep.
documentary where everyone was doing the same nonsense at Nickelodeon
Yep.
and just keeps all these kid places? There's always got to be the creepy people doing weird. They got to do some background checks on
They
these people who work with
They
kids.
really do.
Seriously.
Or just have them when you're working with children. There needs to be way more monitoring. You can't just regardless of the human, if they know them. Pedophiles are so creepy and
They are so
secretive.
creepy.
You never know who a person is. So I don't
That's
think like in that documentary. Sorry, we're talking about the documentary now, but
Yeah.
these stars were allowed in the room with just that one adult, and that one adult would be in charge of like 4 or 5 kids. And I'm like,
Yep.
that's a very vulnerable situation in
That's right.
general. We should have more people to speak out to be protecting these kids.
But they get, I mean, we could go on and on about
I
that.
know.
The Epstein stuff, all of it. Like, you know, what?
Yeah.
They get protected somehow. But no, people are talking about this. It's so gross. It's just mind blowing.
I have literally never. I grew up not understanding what that was. Once I figured out what a was,
Yeah.
I thought, oh, there are
totally.
not that many. The more I grow, the more that I hear about these things. There are so many
So sick.
than I had ever even imagined,
Me
and
too.
it freaks
Me
me
too.
out anywhere I
think it's the
am.
internet.
Yeah.
It's the internet. It opened it up.
Yes.
It's like a Pandora's
It
box.
does.
And then that's same with the trans stuff. It opened Pandora's box for all the perverts to just say, I'm trans, and now I can come in and pretend I'm a woman and go after little boys
And I
and
think
girls.
it breeds
Ugh.
these individuals too. It creates these individuals that are chronically
agree.
online, that are not dealing with people in real life, that don't understand real life
That's right.
consequences to actions.
Thank you.
Everything is virtual. Everything is online. They're so
Yeah.
desensitized from what could possibly happen as a consequence of their actions to other
That's right.
people. Every single day. Yeah.
MrBeast. So of course you're gonna be like, okay, that's how even more insane the story is. It's literally MrBeast's sidekick
Yep.
who's doing the creepiest stuff ever and then saying they're
Yep.
trans. No. I'm so mad about the whole thing, Tori. I am so mad about it.
I know. Sorry, we keep
Hold
going on
on.
diatribes about it, but
Doesn't
it's
matter
important.
because we can't help
Yeah.
it. That's right. It is important. Okay, I found
And
this
when
part.
people have been talking about this, the big issue is not that this dude was getting caught left, right, and center by a bunch of former employees, former kids that was in these Discord messages, or any other people who knew about it and saying, hey, this dude's a weirdo. Here's the background check. No, children. The biggest issue is respecting the pronouns.
Bro, he's weird, bro. That's weirdo. Weirdo. Yes, weirdo. Yes, Kris from MrBeast, bro. It's fucked up. It's weird. It's weird. Bro.
Can you read that, Tori?
The misgendering on purpose
bro.
is
Everybody
so
wants to see what I have to
gross.
say and shit.
She's a pedo.
It's weird. Should it not be like
Wow.
Attack
What?
that she's a
What a
pedo,
video?
not her identity, please.
Let me see the tweet, bro.
Crying out loud.
I'm just like, what are you? So he makes such a great point. He's like, what are you talking about? Them more concerned with the pronouns than they are with the fact that this dude was diddling
Children.
online with
Like,
kids.
make sure
What?
It's the complete opposite of what we're saying. We are not going to respect the identity of a pedophile.
Never.
Done.
Never.
I don't care
Ever.
what community you're a part of.
That's right. Never. Wow. It's so
Gross.
shocking that someone actually wrote that. And what I said earlier to all the women out there, I hear you. Tori hears you. This is not a woman crime. This is a male crime. That's why we can't call Kris she, because if we do that, it becomes a woman crime. And shame on us for doing that. Women are this is the most misogynistic, disgusting movement ever. And I will not stand for it. Like, no, dude, get over there. And I don't care if you want to wear high heel shoes and women's panties. Go for it, dude.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be considered a woman, and your ass needs to be put in man. Well, you know what'll happen when he goes to male jail.
I don't. Oh my God. literally
They don't like people like that.
no, or they do a little bit too much.
Too much. He's really gonna have to be the lady in that
He's
jail.
gonna. But like, yeah, no, you can't just call yourself the woman in that situation and try to get away with it because you're a woman. You were still identifying as a man when you were
There you
doing these
go.
things. So no,
There you go.
you don't get
Yeah.
jack from me.
That's right. That's right. Thank you. Also, it must really frustrate you as a transsexual woman who really makes an effort to, I know that you have huge respect for women, huge respect, and you would never do the things that some of these people do. It must bother you.
Yeah, because that essentially that's putting the same label on me. Just
That's
just
right.
for existing, because people don't like me either, so they can take that same thing. Oh, look, another trans woman. Oh, I bet
That's
I bet
right.
Tori's like that too, based on X, Y, and Z. And it's like,
Yep.
no, how dare you?
I know, it's nasty. It's, again, you don't see a lot of trans guys doing weird stuff out there, or it's just not the conversation is. That's why I want everybody to see too. You don't see this stuff coming from the trans male space. There's other weird toxic stuff, but nothing like this is going on in any way, shape, or form. And you have to see
all the
that.
sexual allegations and stuff is always from a biological male point of view.
That's
like
right.
trans men are usually the victims in this.
As we know, I did 2 videos, one on Rose Montoya,
That's what I was
who
referring
did that,
to.
as well as Eli Ehrlich
Yep.
did some really bad stuff. And I'm pretty sure people are writing me all kinds of stuff. You wait, I'm doing a whole video on
But
that.
it does bother me because as a trans woman, as a transsexual woman who struggles with gender dysphoria and has changed her life to alleviate it as much as possible, even though we know it's always going to be there, and realizes she's still a biological male. Like these. Yeah, it does bother me a lot. And then you go ahead and say, oh yeah, I'm that too. I'm what you are.
I know, it's so
No, you're not.
that's why I value your friendship, and also value you coming on the channel with me, so that I want to give you some representation and show that this isn't true. This is not how trans women are. These are something else.
Exactly.
And they should not be getting the same respect that Tori gets. And everyone calls you she. Everyone is very respectful of you, because respect gets respect. I don't care what anybody says. You want respect, then you better act a certain way. Or else you're not going to get it. I think I have one more piece. That dude just went off, man. I think I have one last piece from him that I found that I think was good. Let's see.
And I'm sorry, not gonna be something I do. I don't like the fact that people are trying to tiptoe around this subject or trying to make it bigger of a subject of respecting the pronouns. Fuck that. You know, the bigger issue is that this guy, prominent figure online, one could argue the left or the right-hand man of MrBeast, was doing and saying all these weird things with children around. And yes, I understand that there was somebody trying to stand up and say, I was not a victim. And then evidence proved otherwise, to the point where they had to say, actually, never mind. I really misremembered this so badly. It's looking real fucking bad. And I'm not going to respect Kris Tyson. Don't care that y'all call him Ava now. Don't really matter to me. If you got a problem with that, what are you going to do? Complain? That's more likely than not what everybody else is going to do given the circumstance. The dude's a weirdo. The dude's a freak. The dude's a creep. And no amount of saying it was edgy jokes at the time is going to stick for me, because that just lets me know you cool with motherfuckers saying shit to little kids because they think that they could hide behind some crass ass jokes. And I'm sorry, an NSFW section in a Discord, to me, just me, with kids in it, is not a fucking joke. Glad we could have this type of conversation together.
This guy is so dang great. I just really want to give him some serious props. And you know what he said, I couldn't have said it better. But I can say it till I'm blue in the face. That's why I wanted to show you the people on the outside world, right? Who are how they feel about us now. And that being said, Ava, you're not going to get respect. And he just told you why. And that's what everyone's concern should be. put trans over here. The kids.
Exactly. At the end of the day, doesn't matter how you identify, you're a pedophile.
That's right. That's right.
And don't try to
Deal with
hide,
it,
don't
dude.
try to scapegoat by taking
Trans.
an identity,
Wow.
taking all of these points that all trans people talk about. And then on top
Yes,
of
the
that,
talking
the
point.
talking points
Yeah.
that are pushed as an agenda. Let's add that on top
That's
to just
right.
compound it and protect myself
Blech.
even more. The messed up thing is that because he's done all this, people are protecting him. He's being protected. He's being people are defending his pronouns as
I know.
she's a pedo. Attack her for being a pedo. Don't, for the love of God, attack her identity.
It's so absurd. I mean, really, it's absurd. Children, people. We are talking about children. That person is a sicko. I mean, that dude just said it all, man. And so, in like literally a minute. So I have one more that I found because I really searched for the regular outside non-LGBT community and see what they were saying because I really wanted people to see this is how people feel and they feel too scared to say it but now they don't feel so scared anymore because kids are put into the mix, right? So the whole house of cards is falling. But it's really important that we hear it. Okay, wait. So this person is great because they really touch on something I touched on, which was Rolling Stone magazine. Disgusting. Came out with this transphobic attack on Kris. And I was just disgusted. So here's another YouTuber and they touch on that here.
From Rolling Stone, Ava Kris Tyson steps away from all things MrBeast amid transphobic attacks. Right. That's the headline here, right? Implying that things were so bad that they had to step back because they were getting attacked.
It's funny that people couldn't maintain the same energy they had with Dr. Disrespect about Kris Tyson.
Oh, absolutely. And as pointed out by BX, my attack on this person was in no way based on transphobia. I think that's the thing that these outlets are missing, is that this has nothing to do with, with whether they're a boy or a girl, trans, straight, gay, whatever.
No.
You're fucking with kids. That's fucked up.
Yep. And everyone can agree on that. It don't matter if you're a purple polka dotted alien. I don't want you messing with kids. That's not okay. That's where everyone on the planet draws a line, is old people, kids, animals. Pretty much a universal, don't fuck with that or you'll find out. So I don't know why we're always trying to play the victim card. When it was Dr. Disrespect, it was okay to cancel him because what? He was a straight white guy? He was a straight white guy that said things you didn't like, so then it made it more okay to cancel him. But when it's Kris Tyson, who's part of a channel that you all like to support and who happens to be part of a victimized, marginalized community, then we don't cancel him. We protect him. We protect him. Right. That's what we do.
See that right there? It's so obvious what's going on. People are pissed.
Yeah, and it's scary. It's what she hit the nail on the head, 100%. It is so scary that we are more afraid to call out a pedophile because we might be branded a transphobe.
I know.
Than we are to literally, the fact of the matter is calling out a criminal for criminal behavior. But God forbid we call someone transphobic. Or God forbid we say something transphobic. That is
that's right.
We are taking this term transphobia and we have manipulated it and just mutated it into this weapon. We've weaponized it into this thing that is just thrown around so flippantly that means something completely off from what it is now, because everything is transphobic. You and I,
we're
transphobic is all get out, transphobic and proud, because at this point it's not what it actually is. And so if you want to call everything that we're saying transphobic,
that's right,
go ahead, because we're not going to stand for it.
But transphobia, people, phobia, fear. Nobody fears us. Now they hate us. I don't know what's the word for hate. Trans hate, basically. People hate us now because we're being associated with Kris Tyson. You watch, he's not trans. It's all going to come out. The whole thing, all the sick, deep, dark stuff that was going on there. And it's just, Wow, I feel so sad about it. Really, I feel like these kids, or whatever you think about this, kids, even if they weren't physically touched, mentally is the same thing. It's mental abuse, and it will live with these young boys for a long
Sure.
time. And it's all coming out, and now they're being able to at least say it, and they didn't even realize it. That one kid didn't even realize he was being groomed until everybody was like, "Dude, you're being groomed," and then he realized, "Oh, wow, I actually was."
Yeah. It's so sad. I mean, the absolute mental baggage that they're carrying
gross.
subconsciously as well.
Yes, yes,
Just
yes.
for years, and that they don't really know until it's triggered. I mean,
That's right.
you're essentially just placing time bombs in these children, and you're
That's
ruining
right.
them.
Trauma. It's trauma. And then they grow up and become adults and are traumatized and act out and do crazy stuff
Or
because
do the
they
same thing. Or do the
oh
same
do the
thing
same
because
thing.
someone
That's
that
right.
they looked up
That's
to
right.
did it, so it must be
That's right.
okay. It
That's right.
must be. That's just how a child's brain works.
Yes.
They're looking for validation, they're looking for acceptance, and if
Yes.
this thing is okay to do, then I can do it
Yes.
too.
Right on. Oh my God.
Awful.
What a mess. Oh, so I dare you all, you go dig deep because it's going to actually disgust you. The stuff that is so disgusting. It's beyond me that it went on for such a long time. And that server thing is scary to me. And the fact that kids are allowed on all these applications with no oversight and all of it. It's just, and they can just wipe it out and no one can see it. But thank God people actually kept a lot of the evidence. So I think this thing is going to keep evolving and more stuff is going to come out.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I just wanted to show you all that it's not trans. This has nothing to do with trans, zero, and that Kris deserves zero respect from anybody. And Kris needs to be called he. I don't care what he thinks he needs to be called.
Yeah.
And that's where I stand with it. And I don't feel in any way, shape, or form it's transphobic. And I feel that we need to out these trans people who are infiltrating our community and doing these insane things. So
I want to say this. I think we at this point and how this is all getting where it is, I think
yeah,
we honestly need to call these people something other than trans at this
thank
point.
you. Great point.
Because we're seeing
Great
more
point.
and more with Kris Tyson and Lily
Yeah.
Tino and these people that are
Yes.
actual pedophiles who are grooming
Yes.
these children on Discord, on these apps
Yeah.
that these kids are on, because that's the thing about kids. They're going to get into things that they're not supposed to get into. It's about teaching
Yeah.
the how to respond to it. It's about teaching like guidelines. It's about teaching consequences to actions. It's all about that, because you can try to keep kids from something, but they're going to find a way if they want to find a way. So
That's right.
with these apps, we can try our best as parents or guardians to
Yeah.
protect them. But at the end of the day, it's about having those conversations with those kids,
Yes.
because these
Great.
individuals that are claiming the trans label, and again, I think we need to call them something other than trans
Yeah.
individuals,
Yeah.
are out for the kids. They're out for the validation from children. And
It's
it's sick because the kids are so small and malleable and
Yeah.
not there yet to
Yeah.
push back. They're not, because the
right.
kids are products of their parents. And
That's
a
right.
lot of times at a certain age, parents will tell a kid something and they'll go the opposite of that just to be rebellious. And sometimes that becomes their
That's right.
identity. And then we mix everything into it, and we have an chronically online culture of these individuals that are just bred for this stuff.
Oh my God. And Kris found a way to sort of manipulate the system and by using the trans space,
And his
to get
power,
more
and his star
accolades.
power as well.
Power. Yep.
It's so
That's right.
so creepy. And again, Buck and I have not even touched. We have not even touched the actual allegations of the
That's
kind of
right.
content that Kris.
Yeah.
I mean, I encourage everybody listening to check that out.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, but we did it. Now you have to. Okay. But what we're saying, we're not just talking out of our ass about this. Like we are
right.
literally concerned for the children that he had contact with, and these individuals that call themselves trans that get into the minds of our kids.
Yes.
We are
Yes.
genuinely so so concerned. I'm sorry I just went on a long diatribe about
No,
that,
it's
but I
important.
needed to say that before we
Thank you.
ended, is we
Yes.
seriously need to gatekeep, make gatekeeping
Thank
great
you.
again.
Yes. Yes. No,
We
totally.
need to, because these
Totally.
people are destroying what it means for transsexuals to exist and assimilate
Yes.
and just live our lives with our
Yes.
mental disorder. They're
That's right.
destroying it. They're turning people against when we're just literally trying to live our lives. And that's what we're trying to do too. No, you're not. You're trying to manipulate other people. You're trying to make the
Wow.
world better for you and you
Mhm.
alone. And you don't
That's
care
right.
who you hurt or manipulate on top of it.
No, it's not transphobic to call Kris out, and it's not transphobic to not use his pronoun
As a
preference. So with
pedophile.
that, right on. Just slide that right in there. We'll see you guys all on the next one. Thanks for joining me, Tori. I always love you so much. You're
Love
amazing and
you. Thank
beautiful.
you.
I'll see you guys on Wednesday on the live. Okay. Hey, check out my new podcast at Buck Angel Podcast on YouTube. Real stories, real people.